Hello students, so we are continuing with our lectures on ethics. Today we are going to take up a very important topic known as emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. You must have heard of IQ when you were in school. Many of you who were in school, because I know when I was in school everybody used to talk about this IQ. How much IQ do you have, and there was a formula out of which you can calculate your IQ that actually told how intelligent you are into something. And when you say what is that something, it was mainly concerned with your mental ability to solve a problem, whether it be a problem of physics or mathematics or chemistry or life problem or whatever, where you can involve all your mental capability to just try and solve the problem. That shows your intelligence. But a human being has multiple aspects. It has been given many more intelligence than only intelligence, that one intelligence which we calculate through the IQ, the mental abilities. There are things which are far beyond than our mental aspects, such as emotions and the feelings and intuitions. Those forms a different category of perceiving and communicating information. So this emotional intelligence over the period of time has become very famous, not only in the Western cultures but also in India. Indians are considered to be emotionally intelligent far more than the Westerners. That's why the concept came here little, but the increasing globalization, privatization and everything, the Americanization, we also have problems dealing with the stress of the modern life. We are also delving into more and more studies on depressions and anxiety and anger issues and things like that, which were not prevalent in the previous generation. And that is why emotional intelligence has become more important. The paper of ethics contains this topic, emotional intelligence, because this is also important for civil servants. Think about it, a civil servant who is not emotionally intelligent, what he is going to do? He is going to take some decision which is going to hurt the interest of the people and the image of the government. At the same time, if the person has very positive emotions, that's a good thing, but the emotions are not controlled, and out of that positivity, if the person becomes too much enthralled, enthusiastic or excited, he may still do something which is going to harm the public interest in the longer run and harm the governance of the country. So a balance in emotion, the intelligence of emotion, how you perceive it, how you manage it, your own emotions, that becomes a very important aspect in governance also. That is why we are here studying about emotional intelligence in governance. But before we start, let us understand what does emotion means. We have already seen intelligence. There are many kind of intelligence. Some people have spatial intelligence. What is this spatial intelligence? They can see the three-dimensional space in their mind. They can imagine it. They can form images, such as architects, such as painters. They can see and imagine in their mind. And that is a special ability few people have. They become very good in certain fields, such as architecture, such as planning, such as painting, whereas there is also a ability in the human being to think in terms of words. Such people communicate in the form of words and they become very good orators, they become very good writers. Also there is a intelligence where you calculate and your mind is very methodical, very mathematical. In that sense, you are able to solve the problem of mathematics and physics very quickly, more than the musical intelligence. You are able to perceive and listen to music in a way that nobody other can do. So all these scenarios shows us that human beings have been gifted with different kind of intelligence. Not everybody possesses all kind of intelligence, although with practice it can be developed, but at times we have seen that certain people are born with the talent of a special kind of intelligence. But this emotional intelligence is something which need to be nurtured, which need to be cultivated, because this comes only after a child who is born, when he or she starts to live, how their family, their parents behave, how the surrounding around that child behaves. That is how this emotional intelligence is cultivated in a human being. So, emotions can be of many types. What do you say? Fear is an emotion. You are feeling hate for somebody, hatred. It's a very strong feeling, very strong emotion. Hatred is an emotion. Then you have envy. You're jealous of someone. That's also an emotion. If somebody is doing better than you, or somebody is living in better conditions than you are living, or somebody has got a bigger posting or a bigger package than what you have got, then you will be envious of that. Fear, hatred, envy, anger, very common these days. Everybody is angry nowadays. I don't know why. What's so much boiling in their head? Anger. These are few emotions. At the same time, happiness. At the same time, courage. At the same time, empathy or compassion. Compassion is a much higher form of empathy. Okay, these are also emotions. These are also emotions. What is the difference here? The difference is they seem to be positive and they seem to be negative. So human beings are made up of emotions. We all at certain point of time have all these emotions within us. Sometimes we feel compassion for the other person. Sometimes we sympathize with them. Sometimes we feel angry about the behavior of other people. Sometimes we are fearful about certain circumstances or events or people. Sometimes we are anxious and depressed. Sometimes we feel hate, and this is all, as you can see, is cultivated. What is the basic form of happiness or joy? If you see you have some desire and the desire gets fulfilled, you are happy. That's the basic thing. But in our country it is said that a person who is happy in all the circumstances is the happiest person. The person should not be involved in the negative emotions and also in the positive emotions. And a state of Sharanagati, a state of Sthit Pragya, as has been propounded in Bhagavad Gita, if a person has that total surrender towards the nature, and in a way he is Sthit Pragya, that simply means he is not going to be affected by either the positives or the negatives emotion or the circumstances, or negative circumstances or the positive circumstances of life. Such a person is always happy. Such a person is always joyous. Such a person is in the blissful state. Such a person is in the blissful state. Courage, empathy, all these are positive emotions. So once you cultivate these emotions through nurturing, through training, through teaching, they become part of you. Sometimes we all have seen that people are happy. Naturally, people are happy, whatever be the circumstances, but they are happy. But a big load or a big negative event comes to their life, and all of a sudden, all the happiness is drained. So, what is that which they are lacking? Where are they lacking? The simple answer to this is management of emotions. Management of emotion. How you are going to manage your emotions. If it is too negative, are you able to make them neutral? Or if it is too positive, are you again going to make them neutral or not? Then what next thing comes into play is the ability to be aware, self-awareness. Self-awareness becomes the basis or the most important component on which emotional intelligence is based. Until you have the self-awareness, until you are aware that you are under the intoxication of an emotion or you are under the influence of an emotion, how would you be able to regulate it? How you will be able to manage it? पहले पता तो होना चाहिए ना कि कुछ दिक्कत हो रही है और ये दिक्कत मेरे नेगेटिव इमोशन या फिर बहुत ज़्यादा पॉजिटिव इमोशन की वजह से हो रही है. इतना खुशी के रात में सोते ही नहीं बन रहा है, इतना दुख के नींद खराब हो गई है, खाना बंद हो गया है. तो ये मैनेजमेंट या फिर इसको अपन कह सकते हैं सेल्फ रेगुलेशन. Self regulation only comes when you have self awareness. If you do not have the awareness of your emotion, and when I say self awareness, it means the awareness of your emotions. Human being is an emotional being. It is said in the Greek philosophies that all the learnings have emotional basis. Also in the modern governance, in modern either be public governance or private governance, emotion has been playing a very important role. Think about what the social media companies are doing. Micro targeting. And profiling. What are these terms, micro targeting and profiling? You must have seen that whatever kind of videos, a particular kind of videos, when you see them on YouTube, the algorithm of YouTube only feeds you with those videos. Why? Because in a way they have become intelligent, the social media's companies, to tap into your emotion. They know at what time you check your Amazon, and at the same time you will get notifications. What kind of product do you check? Do you see purses, or do you see shoes, or do you check out for some groceries or something, and you will start to get more and more notifications at the same time. Why? Because the social media company have become very intelligent. With the coming of artificial intelligence, these people are becoming more and more intelligent, and for everybody they are creating a profile. This is a very personalized profile about what a person wants. If you have a smartphone, let's say this one, and you search everything, YouTube videos and internet surfing and the kind of stuff you check on your sites such as Blinkit and other Amazon and other things, you will keep getting the notifications of the same kind. Why? So that you can buy more products from them. You can see more videos of the same kind. So this has become a very important tool, not only for the social media companies to make profit, but also for political parties to manipulate the public opinion. If you like a leader and you start to watch his videos, you will see only the positive videos of that person, and the algorithm will totally eliminate the negative aspects of that person, which are also there on the internet, which are made by the opponents, but you will never be able to see that. And that is how the power of censorship comes in. That is how the social media companies and the government are able to benefit themselves through censorship, through these things, micro targeting and profiling. So what they are actually doing, where are they tapping? They are tapping into your emotion. When you say manipulation, what are they trying to manipulate? Actually, they are trying to manipulate your action. Okay, once you start to feel positive emotion about a political party, even if little bit negative elements with reason, with logic comes into your way, which says that this particular leader has also done negative things, or this particular political party has also negative aspects attached to it, you will just siphon it off. You will not pay attention, because the overall emotion has been manipulated to think positively about that political party. So it is the emotion they are targeting, and hence it is very important to be self-aware of your emotion. This self-awareness is a paramount condition for emotional intelligence. Then only you will be called as emotionally intelligent, or else the opposite of this emotional intelligence is emotional fool. You don't want to be made fool. That's why it's important to be self-aware. It's important, after being self-aware, to have the capability to regulate it. Once you know that I am becoming more and more angry, and this is self-awareness, that you now know that you are becoming angry. Okay, and this is anger. Sometimes people become angry and they go home and they're like, I don't know what's happening with me, I'm fighting here, I'm fighting there, I cannot understanding, I have headache after all this, I'm going into depression. Okay, there's something inside you which is emotion, which is playing this part. You get affected because of several events or the behavior of people, and it affects your emotion. So once you understand that it is your emotion which is making you happy or angry, then you will be able to regulate it. And how would you regulate this emotion? By being more logical, by being more rational about it. So it also needs strength. This self-regulation needs great strength to be able to be positive about something, to be able to regulate your negative emotions, or to moderate your positive emotion. The next thing comes here is empathy. You have to be empathetic towards yourself. Okay, this is very, very much important. You have empathy towards the other people, that is good, but to be empathetic and compassionate about yourself is a very important part, because every time you have a negative emotion and you start to punish yourself by saying I am a negative person, I am a wrong person, then you are going into a very negative way. You will never be able to self-regulate yourself. You will always be able to self-regulate yourself when you have empathy. Then motivation. How you motivate yourself to turn positive, to be more rational in your behavior, to be more rational in whatever you do, to be more rational in decision making rather than being emotional. When you see that ads, or you get notifications, or the manipulation tactics of a political party, then you have to have motivation in yourself to be neutral, or else the great river of the emotions will drain you totally. You will be drowned in it and will be somewhere else. So it becomes important again to have motivation. Now, while I am saying this, these are the components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy and motivation. they are not only applied to oneself, they can also be applied to other people. But the precondition is you yourself should have that sort of intelligence where you are able to self-regulate yourself. Once you start to self-regulate yourself, you will also get the ability to understand the emotions of the other person, and you will be able to regulate it. It starts with our own brothers and sisters and friends who are around us. Think about a friend who says that I am depressed, or I am angry, or I am not feeling bad, I am feeling low today. First thing we need to do is to be aware what kind of emotion is making him feel like that. Once you have that ability to see, to be aware of that emotion which is making a person feel in a particular way, then you will use the tactics to regulate that emotion. So these components not only work on ourselves, but also work on the other person. If you are able to see their emotions and why they are suffering, you will be able to regulate them and regulate them better. You need to have empathy for them, and at the same time you will apply the principle of motivation to uplift their spirit. What are you going to get out of all these things? Out of these things, what you are going to get? Better social skills. You are going to get better social skills. So this is the reward, better social skills, better communication. So two components comes in, interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal means your ability to interact with the other people, your ability to communicate with the other people, your ability to sympathize and empathize with other people, to be more kind and compassionate towards them, your ability to motivate the other people, your ability to understand their sufferings, your ability to pinpoint the emotions which are making them feel either happy or sad, and it is now your ability to regulate them. That is called as the interpersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence, you do all these things but with yourself, not with the other person but with yourself. You are able to see that I am disturbed because of a particular emotion, and that emotion can be the result of anything. It can be the result of an event which happened 5 years back. You know, the emotional memory which you have of that particular event makes you suffer even today, or a similar circumstances comes in and then you burst out because of that event. Something negative happened, something painful happened, or your emotions are affected by the circumstances around you, that there is a very negative circumstances or negative work culture around you, and that is making you very angry, that is making you anxious about the people who are at loss because of the negative work culture. So your emotions can be hurt, your emotions can be inflated because of many reasons. Let's not delve into that aspect because it will become a very big lecture. Our concern here is all about managing your emotions, being intelligent about managing your emotions. So through intrapersonal skills, you are able to manage the emotions of other people, being emotionally intelligent for them. For intrapersonal skill, you are emotionally intelligent for yourself. You are able to see what emotion is affecting you, then you are able to regulate it and then motivate yourself to be better, to turn from the positive sides to the to turn from negative side to the positive side. That is, one of the aim, but the best thing is to neutralize it. to be at the center and unaffected by the negatives and the positives of the life. So interpersonal and intrapersonal skills comes to a great help, and the combination of both these things makes you emotionally intelligent. You need to have these two skills. Now comes why are we studying this whole emotional stuff, and how people are manipulated, or what's the importance of social skills and communications and interpersonal and intrapersonal skills and all? Because this has been given in the UPSC syllabus. And why is it given in the UPSC syllabus? Only because this emotional intelligence is an important aspect for a civil servant. Now consider yourself to be a secretary of a department, or a ministry, or a collector of a district, or a superintendent of police, whatever you are. If you are a person with negative emotions, do you really think you will be able to do justice to the public service? Or if you are filled with positive emotion, of course you will be able to do justice, but sometimes the courage turns into negative courage also. Think about it. You have courage, you go into an area where too many goons are there, and you start to shoot out everybody. That becomes in a way unethical also, and in a way illegal also. So the courage needs to be checked. Too much courage can also make you a negative person. Too much happiness, you are going to say things, or you are going to as it is said that never make a promise when you are happy. Okay, you are going to make promises which is going to be a problem for you in the future. Being a civil servant, it is important, or being a politician, it is important that you do not make the promises which you cannot fulfill. Okay, at the same time, having compassion and empathy can also turn a little negative, where you have to be stern, where you have to punish. That as it is said in Manusmriti, दंड जो है वो किसी भी स्टेट का आधारशिला होता है. Punishment is the foundation of stone of a state. Punishment is the foundation stone of a state. So you should have the ability to punish also at several times. You cannot all the times be a mother and have empathy and compassion. So for a civil servant, it becomes very important to manage these emotions, to turn himself positive whenever he is becoming negative, and to pull himself down whenever he is too positive about something to the neutral level. Because being in a responsible position, such as being a collector of a district, it requires out of him to be more rational, to be more logical. Now governance was always considered as an area where there was no emotions involved. It was seen that in governance, rules, regulations, laws and practicality and rationality are the important factor. But over the period of time, it is seen that emotion plays a very big role. The current of emotions of the public, that's how on the basis of that the policies are formed. The emotional level of officers determine the efficiency and effectiveness of the governance. So emotion play a very important role. If a civil servant is emotionally intelligent, he will not be only having intrapersonal skill, that when he is able to see himself in the position where he can manage his emotion, but he will also have interpersonal skill, that he can manage the emotion of the other, the overall community, the overall responsibility which has been given to him, of so many people who come to him, somebody saying something, the other person is saying the exactly opposite. How to have the communication intelligence, how to have that social skill where he can come up with a solution which satisfies all. And since human being is an emotional being, when a civil servant deals with people, he is dealing with the bodies of emotion. And that is the reason why that interpersonal skill is very important. Until and unless you are emotionally intelligent, forget about having interpersonal or intrapersonal skill, and forget about being an officer with emotional intelligence. So this is how the Emotional intelligence helps the civil servants to perform better, to be more efficient and effective in their duty. When it comes to expenditure of funds, when it comes to take impromptu decisions, such as there is riots going on and what next move we need to take, and take quickly, opening fire at everybody is not the move. But if you are an emotional fool and you are not emotionally intelligent, that's the first thing you are going to do. Where you can solve the conflict with your superiors or with the overall organization, if they are against you, only an emotional intelligent person can do it, or else the person enters into the fight with the superiors, hurting himself and hurting the public interest. So expenditures, management of differences, implementation of policies, regulation of the governments, making of rules and regulations. An emotionally intelligent person will excel in all these aspects of governance. So I hope you understood this lecture. This was all about emotional intelligence. From a personal level, I can see this is the most important chapter in the whole of syllabus of UPSC, because even if you study probity in governance, it cannot happen until you have emotional intelligence. You study attitude and aptitude. Emotion plays a very important role. For example, let me explain it to you. If you see attitude, it is made up of three important things. The outer layer is the behavior which you carry. What kind of behavior you have is seen at the outside. In the middle, sandwiched, is the beliefs which you have, and at the core are emotions. So how an attitude of a person is formed? Basically through emotions, then the beliefs have some sort of impact, and at the last your behavior, which reflects your attitude. So even in attitude, emotion plays a very important role. Even in probity, in governance, emotional intelligence plays a very important role. So this is one of the major area where the UPSC asks questions from, and it is very important for you all to be very clear about those concepts. You must know what is emotional intelligence. You must know why it is important for civil servants. You must know that what are the components of emotional intelligence, how interpersonal and intrapersonal skill play their role, what is self-regulation, self-awareness, empathy, motivation and social skill. Thank you for hearing me. Let's meet in the next lecture with another topic.